A very welcome to you all on behalf of the world's largest professional technical body, the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, also called as the IEEE. I welcome you all to this side event hosted by IEEE Humanitarian Activities Committee, also called as HAC. I'm Sampath Veeraraghavan. I'm the Global Chairman of the IEEE Humanitarian Activities Committee. And along with me, I also have Ms. Juliana Pecada, Program Specialist, as part of the IEEE Humanitarian Activities and Sustainable Development team. So in this particular side event, in this session, you will be learning about how to leverage a global network of technologists to advance assistive technologies and innovation in serving local communities. With that, I welcome you all to this session. Next slide. As part of this session, we will have four major segments. First, we want you to understand what this IEEE is all about. So in the first segment, we'll be learning about IEEE as an organization and what kind of programs we offer holistically. In the second segment, specifically, you'll be hearing more about IEEE Humanitarian Activities Committee, called as HAC, and you'll be learning how we are providing global programs to inspire, connect, and empower technologists at grassroots so that they could leverage their technical skills for social good to address problems faced by the disabled communities globally. In the third segment, you will specifically learn about how do we support innovation and technology at the grassroots level to support challenges faced by the disabled communities, and also how do we provide support to advance disability rights. Specifically, you will be hearing from us and a couple of projects done by technologists, students who are part of our organization, how they collaborated with local communities, how they devise assistive solutions to help the local communities. And in the last segment, you will be learning more about ways to participate, collaborate, and a collective call for action. And then finally, we will love to take questions from the audience. IEEE at a glance. As you can see here, we are the world's largest professional technical body. And in the next slide, you will learn about our fun facts about IEEE, and you will realize how it's a truly global organization. IEEE today has about 400,000 members in about 160 countries. And an important note here is about 60% of our members are outside of US. When we say members, who are these members, right? They are basically technologists, engineering leaders, any professionals in the field of engineering science basically are part of it. Most interestingly, we have more than 125,000 student members. And as you can see here, the entire world is divided into 10 regions, and IEEE has a presence in all the 10 regions. And our members are grouped at a local level, at a country level, in a structure called as sections. And if our student members are part of universities, they can form their own chapters. And then we also, additionally, we also have IEEE societies, which we'll learn in the next slide. So in a nutshell, as you can see here, clearly we are the global organization when it comes to technology and engineering. We are the de facto world leader there. Specifically, we have about 39 technical societies and 7 technical council representing wide range of IEEE technical interest. Now, to give a context here, if you take the field of engineering, you have a very broad range of expertise there, right from civil engineering to computing to aerospace, you name it. We have an IEEE society dedicated to that, actually, so that we could actually develop or advance best in class technology for the benefit of humanity. Additionally, IEEE has more than 5 million documents in our digital library called as Explorer, with more than 15 million downloads each month. So it's clearly we are the world leader when it comes to providing publications as well, to bring together the scientific and the technological community so that they could publish their innovations and work in IEEE Explorer. And apart from that, we also provide additional opportunities. For instance, we typically conduct close to 2000 conferences, nearly about 100 countries globally every year. This conference has bring together the technologists and it showcases how technologists throughout the globe are advancing various forms of emerging technologies for the larger benefit of humanity. Last but not the least, you can see here more than 500,000 attendees participate in these conferences, what I told you, right? And as I said, we also provide standards, many standards for technologists, and these standards in some cases date back to even 1872. So clearly, it demonstrates how we cover the breadth and width of the technological sector. And look at here, all the emerging technologies, what we are talking about: cloud computing, information storage, machine learning, power systems, smart grid, medical devices, robotics, semiconductors, telecommunications. I mean, these are the most important technologies what today the industry and the global countries across the globe leverages. And needless to say that many of the world leaders at the grassroots are part of this great organization called as the IEEE. Our motto, as you can see, is to advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. Okay, so next slide. So in the first segment, you truly heard about what is IEEE. How we are truly a global organization when it comes to advancing technology, and also to provide a platform to bring together technologies throughout the globe. Now in the second segment, specifically, you will be hearing or learning more about IEEE Humanitarian Activities Committee, which I am the global chair for, and my co-presenter, Juliana, is also like the staff helpful for staff lead for one of the great programs we offer called as Special Interest Group and Humanitarian Technology. So in this specific session, you are going to learn about what are the various offerings from HAC, and that will help you to understand how as an individual you can participate, how as an organization you can partner with us, so that collectively we can drive assistive innovations to support the local communities globally. Next slide. The IEEE Humanitarian Activities Committee, also called as HAC, we are a global committee of IEEE. Its mission is to provide leadership as well as a suite of resources that inspire and enable IEEE volunteers, which means technologists and engineers around the world, to carry out and support impactful humanitarian technology and sustainable development activities at the local level. In a nutshell, how can we empower the 500,000 engineers whom we spoke about? How do we leverage that technical skills and use it for social good? And what kind of impacts we can deliver by bringing together technologists, policy makers, local community together, so that we could deliver appropriate and meaningful assistive solutions which could empower and bring in a positive changes in the living conditions of disabled people. Specifically, our program provides a broader portfolio of coverage across the wider spectrum of sustainable development. So any 17 SDG goals today you take it, our members or our technologists pretty much get an opportunity to work on them through our programs offering. Next slide. Now there are four major strategic areas of focus. Okay, the first one is we wanted to provide awareness. And why IEEE HAC is today here presenting at COPS 15 is the first thing, right? We wanted to provide awareness how technologists are very central to the field of disability and also to the larger goal of achieving the sustainable development goals. And one way we want to do that is to provide workshops, to provide side events like this, so that we could actually increase the public visibility on the role of engineering and technology in the sustainable development field. And needless to say, the field of assistive technology and helping people with disability is one of the core universal problem that is part of the larger sustainable development goals. Second, we provide training, we provide educational resources and opportunities so that the humanitarian technology participants have a greater positive impact. For instance, we provide training through webinars, workshops, conducts workshops virtually, as well as in leading conferences toward the globe, so that the local engineers and the students specifically can learn about how to get the skills, how they can improve their skills, how they could partner with the local communities and local governmental and non-governmental organizations, so that they could actually collectively can build solutions for a better future of the local communities. Third, we provide support for financial as well as financial support up to the tune of $5,000 to support IEEE members who is interested in innovating solutions that are relevant in addressing the sustainable development challenges faced by the local community. Not only that, we have as you will be seeing in the next slides, we have a presence in more than 160 countries. So we also provide resources and mentoring opportunities so that the participants can collectively get guidance. At the same time, they can also get financial support in order to transform their ideas into actionable solutions. Lastly, um, we want to make IEEE, the world leader in a sustainable development, segment. And needless to say, and we want to achieve that mission through partnership with global organizations and industrial leaders, other organizations, so that collectively we can come together and identify the best-in-class technology and invest on them and deliver solutions that are truly world-changing. And as you can see here, these are the 4 major strategic areas of focus for HAC. And our website, as you can see here, is hac.ieee.org. Next slide. Now, let's talk about what are the various offerings of programs we provide. The first one I would say here is one of the most popular program we offer. It's called as the IEEE Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology, also called as IEEE SITE. So what is this program? This program is essentially a feet on the ground initiative. What do we mean by that? The idea behind this program is that we want to bring together the local technologist, the local community, and the local partners, which could be the governmental or non-governmental organization, to come together to identify the pressing sustainable development challenges faced by the local community, then work backwards from those needs and deliver innovations or engineering solutions to address those needs collectively as a team. That is what this program is all about. It is a network of IEEE volunteers, aka technologists, around the globe that partner with underserved communities and local organizations to leverage technology for social development. What are the values we are delivering? Now, SITE as a program, it focuses on sustainable solution that makes a long-term difference in the lives of people in the local community. Second, it operates through local volunteer and partners working with local community. Local, what do we mean by the local, right? The local is defined by the fact that the key leaders of the projects are citizens and are permanent residents of the geographical area in which the project is to take place. Why this is important? Because we are trying to solve the larger sustainable development challenges. That means we have to think globally, but we have to act locally to bringing those changes at the grassroots level. That's why our programs encourage the local capacity building by empowering, inspiring, and training the local communities. Lastly, site success is only achieved through partnership. As you can clearly see here, we are trying to create an ecosystem, right? Starting with the community and extending it to governmental organizations, NGOs, schools, hospitals, companies, and others. For SITE and its volunteer to be both effective and sustainable, continuous training in education is essential. Why? Because there's an emerging need always, right? When the pandemic hit us, right, we all wanted to globally to come out with PPE solutions, protective equipments, masks, sanitizers, so there's always an emerging need, a global crisis of some sort. So it's important that we provide educational opportunities to continuously upskill the participants so that they can deliver solutions which are relevant and are actionable to the current problem at hand. Next slide. Now let's talk about how this program, the feet on the ground program, IEEE side, it's a global program, right? First one, it's a network of technically trained individuals, right? I mean, it's ACA basically it's a global network of technologists, right? Today we have about close to 30,000 site members in close to 129 countries, right? This is a very, very impressive number, and this is also one of the fastest growing program within the realm of sustainable development segment within IEEE. I mean, we grow literally from 4,000 to 30,000, nearly 30,000 in a span of 3 to 3.5 years. And you can see here the most important thing is about 73% of students are graduate students, right? So that actually talks about an important, data. It provides a very important insight there, right? So in a nutshell, this programs where you engage students and technologists and make them to develop solutions to serve the local, communities, including the disabled population. It's in a way, it's inspiring and empowering specifically students, because the students are the, leaders of the future, right? By providing that opportunity at a much earlier stage in their education as part of their career, what is happening is that we are able to build a very, very strong and an assertive a community which can then foster the culture of innovation to address the pressing needs of the local communities and disabled individuals. Site encourages members to form groups to learn about sustainable development, build relationships with their local communities, and implement projects that utilize technology to tackle key challenges the community is facing. Shortly, we'll be talking about the various, in the segment 3, we'll be talking about the various forms of projects what we support. And we also will showcase you a couple of solutions what our members have developed. Lastly, this program has been in existence for almost 10 years, now more than 10 years, and we have more than 200 site groups in about 54 countries. Again, this is a program offered by IEEE Humanitarian Activities Committee. If you are interested, the membership is free. You can enroll on it. We will be sharing details later as part of this presentation, how you could become a site member. And if you are a local organization, you could also partner with us. We can help you to connect with our local volunteers in your country, and you could explore the opportunities to do projects collaboratively to see how best you could address the needs of your local community. So you can see here how it's a very truly global organization, our global footprint here, So there are groups around the world. Think about the possibility. We have 500,000 engineers, technologists throughout the world. If all these 500,000 engineers can work with local NGOs, local governmental organizations, or policy makers, think about the impact what we can deliver to address the needs of the disabled population as well as to the marginalized community globally. Next slide. Now, there will be a basic question. Why is technology and technologist is foundational when it comes to addressing humanitarian issues in the sustainable development space? I mean, this is also applicable to the other question. Why, as an engineer, I should put my skills towards advancing assistive technologies, right? These slides answer the question. First, let's take an interesting correlation between science, technology, engineering, and the society and nature. The needs of the local society or the nature, that drives advancements in science. When advancements in science happen, it leads to creation of theories, which in turn funnel into creation of different researchers in engineering, and then that research in turn comes back with actionable solutions, which is then delivered in terms of products, which is then consumed again by the local communities. So in a nutshell here, the needs actually drives the advancements in technology and science. So there's a very strong correlation here. 100 years back, someone actually felt like technologists felt that there is a need to innovate electricity. That's what that need actually led to the advancement. And maybe like 30-40 years back, people thought that we need to come back with better solutions to automate. So that leads to many computing, technologies, what we are talking about today, and emerging technologies like AI, you know. So from a student standpoint or from an engineer standpoint, what are the primary reasons why they have to be involved in this kind of programs? First, it provides opportunity for creative solution formulation. Specifically, it has to be bottom up, right? So by working with the local disabled population, it helps us to understand their pain, what they are, painful challenges, what they are facing, and then leverage that learning to formulate solutions which are relevant and helpful to bring in a change in their living condition. Second, this kind of technology driven humanitarian programs, it actually helps to interconnect multi interdisciplinary experts to work together as a team, right? For example, you have the NGOs, you have the engineers, you have the policy makers. So now you have a technology, and then you may also can have relevant legal laws or policies to observe that, so that you can benefit and provide a better living condition for the marginalized communities locally. Third, design and deliver solution that touches the lives of people actually, right? And contributing towards a larger cause, for a greater cause, right? I mean, the entire logo or mission of IEEE is to advance technology for the benefit of humanity. If the part here is the humanity part, if the technology is not relevant to the humanity, it's meaningless actually, right? So that's why it's important that it has to be tied back to address a universal challenge faced by the larger community. Lastly, this is a very creative way actually to provide a public visibility on the role of engineers in addressing complex real world challenges. And it also become attractive for young children to learn about engineers, what they can do actually, you know how we contribute to build a better world along with policymakers, scientists, and of course the civil society. Next slide. So these are some of the reasons why engineers are involved in kind of the technology based humanitarian program. Now the third segment, okay, the first segment you learned about how IEEE is the world's largest technical body, and you learned about what are our various offering. The second segment you learned about the IEEE HAC, which is the Humanitarian Activity Committee, how we offer a portfolio of global programs to inspire, connect, and engage engineers. Now in the third segment, you will specifically learn about what are the projects we fund, and we will also show you some of the examples so that you could explore the possibility how your organization or you as an individual can become a member of these programs, or you could explore partnership avenue with us. Okay, so specifically in this segment, you will learn about the support, innovation, and technology what we have given through our projects at grassroots to advance disability rights. Next slide. Now, an bird view of bird view of our program. First of all, we provide, as I said, many programs, right? One, you learned about the site program, which is offered by JC. Now we are talking about the projects program. We also have the education program, which are relevant to the projects program. So specifically about the project program, since 2013, the IEEE Humanitarian Activities Committee and also the site program offered by us, we have provided funding to IEEE members who implement humanitarian technology and sustainable development projects in the local communities. Now, this is a powerful opportunity for members to utilize the technical expertise in their local communities to help IEEE achieve its larger mission of advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. Now, the funded projects address one or more of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, also called as the SDGs. And in the last 5 years, we have awarded close to $3 million to about 421 projects and events. Specifically last year, when the pandemic hit us, we received a record breaking of close to 400 projects from 45 countries, 7 regions, and we nearly funded close to 100 projects throughout the world. So the important call out here is what kind of projects we are talking about, right? So there are 3 categories of projects we typically support. One, the first thing is it has to be local community centered, and technology has to be a principal component to address the needs of the community. That means, in other words, you need to innovate a solution by addressing the needs of the local community. And either you can innovate a new technology, or you could leverage an existing technology, or you could actually deliver a policy centric project. These are the three broader buckets. An example here, it could be, say for example, you're working with a local school which caters to the needs of a special needs children. You could actually develop some example projects which could benefit them, either software or hardware. That is one category. The second category is basically, say you wanted to actually put actually a couple of solar lamps in a health center in in a LDC country, so that you can provide increased access to the local disabled population. That's an idea example of how do we leverage an existing technology like solar technologies like solar panels, but you're customizing to the needs of the local community. Okay, the third one is policy, how technology can be leveraged, and how we could empower the policy makers, and what are the recommendations there. Now, some key callouts here, about our projects. As I said, IEEE is the world's largest organization, so technology has to be an important component. But at the same time, the need of the technology should be based on the need of the local community. It cannot be top down. It cannot be saying that I am a leading technologist and I'm going to develop a solution without even accounting or talking to the needs of the local community. So you talk to the local community first, understand their needs, and then you come back with a proposal how you could leverage an emerging technology or an existing technology to offer a solution to address that need. So project cannot be solely humanitarian in nature. In other words, it cannot be that without any technological component, the projects cannot be like purely humanitarian, where we are offering kids or food or something like that. Because this projects, as I said earlier, it's a technology driven humanitarian programs. So definitely the technology piece, it needs to be there. Second, we focus on application or localization of technology versus the research and design of brand new technology. So many times people wants to actually do an R&D, to develop new solutions, and then they go out to find a possible market space to deploy those solutions. In this case, in our projects, the other way around. You first work with the local community or the people with disabilities. Then you understand the needs. Then you formulate a new solution, or you localize an existing technology. Now address the medium to long-term challenges, not immediate needs in disaster. Another important call out here is our projects don't support disaster response because it's a very tricky area. So, but we do support projects primarily on the sustainable development space, which can address our immediate and long-term challenges. Third, fourth, to reemphasize again, this has to be done by the local, audience. It cannot be like parachuting people from one country, traveling and doing it. Of course, they can mentor and guide as part of the ecosystem, but the implementation has to be done at a local level. That's primarily because we wanted to foster an ecosystem of local capacity building, and then leverage that network of trained, technologists to drive innovation at grassroots. Again, it has to be bottom up. It has to be based on the needs of the community, and it needs to have a connection to an existing IEEE organizational unit. So this is again saying that hey, if you want to do a project, make sure you leverage this larger organization called as IEEE, where we could help you to find mentors from industries. We have the technical expertise that we can help the team to be successful to drive these projects. So once your project is approved, the project is typically for 6 months. These are small scale projects, and of course, if the project is successful, you can come back and apply for another $5,000, up to $5,000, for second scale of funding. And typically the range of per project ranges between $1,000 to $5,000. And the solutions, as I said, it covers the broader universal challenges faced by the localized community, as well as to the people with disabilities. You can see here access to clean water, telemedicine platforms, internet access, power sources are some of the examples. Next slide. So far you have heard about what we have done. So I think in this slide, I actually wanted to give the presentation over to my co-presenter, Juliana, where Juliana will be specifically talking about what we have done from the standpoint of developing innovation to help people with disabilities. and she will also be presenting about what are the unique projects we have delivered by involving engineers throughout the globe. Over to you, Juliana.
Thank you, Sampath. So as Sampath mentioned, and you can see here on this slide, HAC and SITE, the Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology, have a history of supporting projects that have developed technological solutions for communities of persons with disabilities. Since 2013, HAC and SITE have provided over $100,000 to 17 projects in 9 different countries that have applied technology in fields of IEEE expertise that have developed solutions for communities of persons with disabilities. So you can see here those countries have been Bangladesh, Canada, Colombia, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Uganda, the United Kingdom, and the United States. And so you can see that the countries, this gives a good picture of the countries where HAC and SITE have teams that are working, kind of gives a little snapshot of that global reach of IEEE's community of technologists that extend to HAC and SITE too, of course, and also show how we would we have been working in both lesser developed countries and then developed countries as well. So various solutions have been developed to address challenges for communities of persons with disabilities, whether those have been solutions developed for persons who are deaf or hard of hearing, persons who are blind or have visual impairments, persons with developmental disabilities, physical disabilities, or language disabilities. So there's been quite a variety of solutions that have been developed over the last several years. And now we'll have an opportunity to look at just a few examples. We knew we had limited time. We could have shared more than this, but just to give some brief examples to those who are with us today. So one of the projects that we have, HAC and SITE have provided funding to in the past, has taken place in New Jersey in the United States. This project has taken part in 2 phases, beginning in 2019 when we started partnering with this team of volunteers. They have been working for these last several years on technology that has improved solutions for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. And it has especially come in very valuable in the last couple of years just because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So the team essentially realized as they were completing phase 1 of their project that there was still a need for additional solutions for people who were hard of hearing, and also how they could better communicate when the majority of people were using masks and things like that. So they adapted their project somewhat to include some solutions there. They've also been working on medical device guides in various languages. They have a multilingual team. They have been working on expanded lexicon and vocabulary, closed captioning solutions, screen reader solutions, and the recent focus has been for people who are either caring for themselves or a family member with chronic, acute, or emergency health conditions. So the idea with this current solution that they are developing is that people can be quickly connected to existing medical device user guides, related health conditions and materials to improve health literacy. And so this team we've been partnering with them, as I mentioned, over the last several years, and we're very excited that we have this opportunity to support the valuable work that they're doing. Another example of a funded project, this one took place in Indonesia. This project team realized that there were people in a certain village who had a higher than the national average of people who were deaf or hard of hearing, and they were communicating with each other using a sign language that was only specific to the village where they lived, as opposed to the national Indonesian sign language, which is Basindo. So the learning meeting, unfortunately, and the resources that were available in this village's sign language were quite limited. So what the team did was coded the local sign language into an avatar to kind of serve as translation services in between this community's sign language and then the national sign language. This application was released to the public. Of course, it was focused on people who are living in the specific village, but they also held focus groups with the sign language, international sign language experts. There were other parts of the country where it was released as well. They had fabulous partnerships with government representatives, with academics, with leaders in the community, and I believe they're still collecting ideas for improvement on this existing solution that's in use today. And the final example we have here is a platform that was developed by a team of IEEE members in the United Kingdom. This platform was designed, the team had existing relationship with a local organization that worked with children with autism, and they saw an opportunity to use their technological expertise to provide a solution that would encourage social interaction and cognitive development for the students that were attending the programs that this NGO was offering. And these were young children. So they developed an inclusive multi-sensory space that could encourage engagement through motion. Children were encouraged to interact with their peers through movement, exploration, and collaboration in an educational and safe environment. So in addition to developing the solution, another important part and aspect of HAC site-funded projects is ensuring that there's training for the community members to carry on whatever the solution may be after the conclusion of the official conclusion of an HAC site-funded project. Of course, the activities ideally continue for longer after the 6-month time period. And in order to ensure that's possible, the team members need to train the community on how to continue use of whatever the solution may be. So as in many of our projects, this was also the case for this project. And the solution is still being used to complement traditional methods that the school employees are using to develop social interaction and provide occupational speech and language therapy for the children with which they work. And just one last note as we're talking about our projects, there are big plans in the future for HAC site to intentionally support innovation and technology to advance disability rights. And we have a new way in which we can do that. So there is in existence the IEEE Foundation, which is a philanthropic partner with IEEE and a tax-exempt 501c3 registered in the United States that supports the IEEE core purpose of fostering technological innovation and excellence for the benefit of humanity through philanthropic and charitable initiatives. So HAC and Site have been working with the IEEE Foundation closely for quite some time. And recently we got the very exciting news that the IEEE Foundation Board had approved HAC to receive a $175,000 US dollar grant from a bequest that was made to the foundation. That bequest came from the estate of John C. Tanzer. And HAC is going to be using these funds as specified in the bequest to support projects that will develop breakthrough and aids for persons with disabilities or supporting engineers in underdeveloped countries. And we feel that HAC and Site are uniquely positioned and prepared to do this very well. So the program is currently in its discovery phase, although plans are in place to begin supporting projects this year. We have already begun receiving proposals, and we have a wonderful team of volunteers who are going to be working with those teams to determine which ones are excellent candidates to receive funding from this new source of funding. So with this, I will hand it back over to Samba. Back to you.
Thank you, Juliana. So as you can see, in the third segment, specifically, you saw how technologies are very, very important and how technology is, foundational to address some of the challenges faced by people with disabilities, right? And what is most important here is, I think the people with disability have a right to be included, and technologists have to be a partner in helping them to, to achieve their dreams. So with that said, the last segment, we are going to see what are the ways to collaborate, how you could be part of, what are some of the examples how the IEEE HAC has partnered with, United Nations agencies and other SDG focused institutions in the last year or so. So last year specifically, as I said, was a record-breaking year for us, both in terms of our membership growth, the number of projects we supported, and also in terms of partnerships, I would say. You can see here that HAC joined hands with IEEE Tech Ethics, where we were part of the roundtable discussions that were driven on healthcare and on energy, addressing energy poverty as well with the UN DESA, the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs. And like how we are doing a side event today as part of COPS 15, which is the first ever time that IEEE we are hosting a side event in COPS 15. We hosted a similar side event at the Science, Technology and Innovation STI Forum organized by the UN. And also, you can see here, we provide a lot of opportunity for our students and especially for women leaders. They are very much active and part of our larger programs. So we actually joined the official launch event of the VC's stock taking repository of women in technology, which is a global program again. And lastly, we have been part of the Science Summit and UNGA 76. We did also participated in UNGA 75 the previous year. So clearly, we have been having a very increased presence, working closely with UN agencies for two purposes, right? One is if we need to, achieve SDGs, I think it has to be a holistic effort. It needs to bring together technologists, policymakers, and the various governmental and non-governmental organizations and the local communities. So I think we have to come together, as a family to build a better future for everyone. So that's why, like, increasingly we are working strongly in terms of our collaborations with these global organizations. Next slide. Now, with that said, the IEEE HAC brings together entities in the sustainable development space within and beyond IEEE, right? So we spoke about how we have, very uniquely positioned to bring together entities, specifically, help us to roll out joint programs in the humanitarian technology and sustainable development segment so that we could address the universal challenges faced by the local communities, around the world. And as you can see here, today our program benefits nearly close to 30,000 members in about 130 countries, right? And few organizations have this kind of geographic reach and the expertise. I mean, IEEE as an organization, we have close to 500,000, like more than 400,000 members in 160 countries. Think about the possibility if each of these members kind of put the technical skills for the social good and, and they partner with local communities, right? That's going to have, a greater impact in achieving the SDGs. The timing is also very important because we are actually meeting at a time post pandemic where still many countries toward the world are struggling, because they are at risk of missing, achieving the SDGs goal targets in their own respective regions, right? So that's why it's even more important that technologists and technology play a vital role in coming back with grassroots solutions in order to help us to address the universal challenges faced by people with disabilities, as well as addressing the global challenges faced by the local communities. You know, now there are two kinds of collaborative opportunity that you could benefit from either as a member individual or being a part of a larger organization. First, as an individual, you could actually register for site membership, which is free actually. By becoming a member of site, program, you will get access to our newsletter, and also you will get access to the larger ecosystem where you could actually like, attend programs which are offered by the local site groups, as we can see, right? About 130 countries. And then you also have an opportunity to network with like-minded people who have a passion towards leveraging technology for social good, right? Then there are also potential opportunities. You could either take some of the existing programs, or you could actually pilot new programs and develop new approaches to solve the universal challenges faced by the local community. You could also benefit from the educational programs what we offer. One of the main benefit of the program being free is that this actually largely empowers the students. As you can see earlier, out of the 30,000, 73% are about students, right? So this becomes even more important and attractive for students in countries where they are either at the poverty line or below the poverty line, because they not only able to find a mentor, they also have an opportunity to get access to these educational resources, and then come back with an idea and get funded for those ideas, so that they could actually deliver the solution to create an impact in the local communities. Most importantly, definitely encourage you all to participate in these programs, and the benefits includes the opportunity to learn and develop professional skills, connection and community with like-minded people, and working towards a greater purpose and using your skills to give back. That's even more important, right? Now, if you're an organization, then we have a lot more opportunity for you, right? If you look at it, right, we can actually publicize your programs, and similarly you can publicize about our programs in your newsletter or communication to provide a broader visibility. How we could collectively can create awareness on the role of technologists and technology, especially helping to address the challenges faced by people with disability. Second, you can actually join hands with us to join partnership programs. It can be educational, it can be join project funding program, to join funding programs, so that we can actually bring together communities, technologists, policy makers at grassroots, so that we could collectively can address the SDGs. Third, most important, we actually launched a strategic program last year called as IEEE Humanitarian Activities Committee's Global Summit. This is a virtual event that will be held probably in late fall. It brings together world leaders in technology, policy making, governmental organizations, so that we could discuss, what are the emerging technologies, how they could be leveraged to solve some of the grander challenges faced across the world, you know. And most importantly, we also showcase some of the solutions what we have delivered to these programs. And also our partners have an opportunity to come and talk about, how these programs have benefited by them, how we could synergize our efforts. So if you have interest, definitely write to us. I just shared my email as well as in the chat box. So we are really looking forward to partner and as well as to support partnering organization in the segment. Last but not the least, as you can see here, by partnering with us, your organization will also have a broader visibility for the 400,000 plus engineers to know about what is the mission of your organization. And also we could explore avenues in the 160 countries where we could roll out joint programs or synergize some of the ongoing efforts, involve or create new opportunities for our members to participate, so that it's a win-win model for both the organization. So with that said, next slide. I think we really hope I think this session was helpful, both in terms of understanding what is IEEE, what is IEEE HAC, what is our projects, how you could get benefited. And again, this is our website, hac.ieee.org and site.ieee.org. I wanted to actually quote one thing as a call for action here. I think with the pandemic, in COPs 15, all the policy makers and world leaders they spoke about in the last 3 days, why it's important, how technology is very, very important, in terms of building a better future for people with disabilities. I think this is a universal problem. I think it's very important that global organizations like IEEE, UN has to come together so that we can foster an ecosystem of innovation. At the same time, we can come back with solutions which will empower people with disability so that we can advance technology for the larger benefit of humanity. With that brief note, I definitely request you all to take a look at our programs and write to us if you have further questions, or we'll open the floor shortly and you can also ask questions to us directly. Our website is hac.ieee.org and site.ieee.org, and our official email address is hac-office@ieee.org. With that note, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate and thank the COPS 15 organizing team for giving us this opportunity to meet you today virtually and present our work about the important work that IEEE HAC is doing in the field of sustainable development as well as driving the next generation of assistive technologies to empower and bring in a change in the living conditions of people with disability. Thank you all again for taking time to join us this morning. We hope the session was very helpful and for you to understand about the portfolio of programs offered by IEEE HAC. I also would like to thank my co-presenter Juliana for her efforts this morning. We both of us enjoyed presenting this session to you all. And again, we are here to serve the larger community. So definitely write to us if you have any follow-up questions. And I know some of you have met me during the COPS 15 conference. So definitely we are here as a technologist, as a global organization. We are here to serve the needs of the larger community. So write to us, and we look forward to collaborate with your organization. And also, as an individual, we will encourage you to highly register for the site membership program. So with that brief note, we will probably close the session. And again, thank you all for joining us today.